All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So the Jets are coming off a win against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but before kickoff, we actually had an Adam Schefter report come out suggesting that the New York Jets are going to be interviewing ex-Titans GM Jon Robinson, who we did a video on, I want to say about a half week ago, and current ESPN draft analyst Louis Reddick. But I wanted to focus in on Reddick here because this is someone who's well respected. This is someone who is a former player, spent 9 years in the NFL as a player. And then as soon as he was done playing, he became a scout with Washington, worked his way up and became a director of player personnel for a couple years, and then bounced over to the Eagles and again worked his way up. I believe he started out as just a pro scout, but then ultimately became the director of pro personnel from 2010 to 2013, right at the end of the Andy Reid era. So this is someone who's just more than a talking head on ESPN. No, he's lived it. He's played. He's scouted. He's been in those front offices before. And again, it always feels as though Reddick gets talked about with GM openings. This is someone who always seems to have players' backs. There's a lot of fans of Louis Reddick out there. It seems like a lot of, guys that are former players really back Reddick. You do get the vibe that he really understands what he's talking about, and he does a really good job of putting himself in a player's shoes. So, could he be the answer for the New York Jets? I would say, again, it's worth an interview here. Jon Robinson, one guy I've been talking a lot about is Thomas Dimitroff. I did a video on him, I want to say 2.5 weeks ago. I would I want the Jets to look at him, but there's other names too, the Ed Dodds, the Ray Agnews, the Mike Borgonzis, the Mike Greenbergs, the John Dorseys, right? There's a lot of different names that you can throw out there that make sense, right? That are worth interviews, right? And ultimately, that's what I want the New York Jets to do. Interview as many people as possible. Louis Reddick is not employed by an NFL team, so if the Jets can bring him in, and by the way, in the initial report, it stated that the Jon Robinson interview is going to be taking place like in the near future, whereas Reddick, it's going to happen beyond this week at some point. So that's, set for a later date. But either way, with Robinson and Reddick, you get a feel for these guys, right? If Jon Robinson comes in and just tanks the interview, it's just one less interview that you have to do, when the season winds up. Or, if Reddick, if Robinson, they go in there and they just smash the interview process, it goes well, you take that data, you take that information, and you move forward and you schedule a second interview. I mean, could you imagine if the Jets find their next GM candidate before the season even ends? Or at least have a 90%, of 90% of what they're looking for figured out, to where as soon as the season ends, it's, one more second interview or something, and then you're in the clear. I mean, that would be pretty sweet. So again, with the New York Jets, I don't think they're in a position to look at guys and say, no, we're not interested in you. We're not interested in you. We're not interested in you. I want them to talk to everybody here. Rick Spielman has a say. Mike Tannenbaum has a say. Woody Johnson, Chris Johnson. These guys, sit down, go over the information, talk to as many people as possible. First-time guys that have, experience as a general manager before, guys that are older, guys that are younger, right? Really get a good sense, vet all the candidates, and that way you just have more information and more data at your disposal moving forward to make a better, more informed decision. You don't want to be look, the Jets are already the laughingstock of football. You don't want to be the team to where you don't do your due diligence. You interview just a couple of candidates and another team out there, right? I'm not going to say the Saints because it's looking like they're going to be keeping Loomis. Let's just say Jacksonville because Balky's on the hot seat. They go out and they hire this stud GM who the Jets didn't even talk to. Let's talk to everybody we possibly can. And in the meantime, during the season, let's get a head start on it. Jon Robinson, right? Let's talk to all these guys that aren't employed by NFL teams. So I'm with all these interviews, right? I like bringing in as many people as we possibly can. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.